When the eastern horizon became tinged with the redness that heralds the rising of the sunrise, the jewel among the Brahmins, Lord Gaurasundar, immediately awakened. Taking his devotees with him, he journeyed through the towns and villages of Nadia. The mridangas resounded, tatai, tatai, and the jhas in that kirtan played in time. Lord Gauranga's golden form slightly trembled in ecstatic love of God, and his footbells jingled. Lord Chaitanya called out the townsfolk, "You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. Now just fill your mouths with the holy names Mukunda, Madhava, Yadava, and Hare, chanting without offense. You have achieved a rare human body. Don't you care for this gift? If you do not worship the darling of your mother Yashoda now, great sorrow awaits you at the time of your death. With every rising and setting of the sun, a day passes and is lost. When then do you remain idle and not serve the Lord of the heart? You should understand this essential fact. Life is temporary and filled with various kinds of miseries. Therefore, carefully take shelter of the holy name and remain always engaged in his service as your eternal occupation. Desiring to bless all living entities, the sweet name of Krishna has descended to this material universe and shines like the sun in the sky of the heart, destroying the darkness of ignorance. Drink the pure nectar of the holy name of Krishna and thus satisfy the soul of Bhakti Vinod. There's nothing except the holy name within all the 14 worlds. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki. So today is the Chida Dahi festival. Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami ki. Gaura Bhaktavinda ki. So this took place in a place that's called Panihati. Panihati. How many have been to Panihati? Good. I went there about 34 years ago, 36 years ago, I visited Panihati. And then just after Gaur Purnima, I visited again for the second time. So that time we had no center in Panihati. And actually there wasn't very much there in Panihati at all. The tree that Lord Nityananda sat under near the Ganga was there. A tree was there. And you could see all the way to Raghava Pandit's house because it was open fields. But now this time when I went, I was surprised. It's all built up. Everywhere, every nook and corner, there's a house or a building, right? Fortunately, now ISKCON has a center there with a set of Gaur-Nitai deities right on the bank of the Ganges. They even have a ghat. You can go down and take your bath in the Ganges. So previously, Panihati was a place of trading, right? It was easily accessible by river, so people would come there, and it was a village, and people would trade their goods there. Hati means market, right? Panihati, Panihati. The market you can easily access by the Ganga. So, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has described this pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so I thought we'd read that. It'd be appropriate to read that pastime today. And yeah, and if you haven't visited there, make an opportunity. If you get an opportunity, to please go and visit them. Let's see. This is really about, the devotional service of Raghunath Das Goswami and his relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So let me see. Raghunath Das Goswami had met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to immediately go and be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu told him that no, you stay where you are and be with your family and wait for the mercy of Krishna. So he did that very faithfully, and that's related in this part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the advice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Raghunath Das. Prabhu der sikshate tenoi nija garde yai markata vairagya chari hoila vishaya prai. 14. Chapter 6, text number 14. Translation. Instead of becoming a so-called renunciate, Raghunath Das, following the instructions of the Lord, returned home and played exactly like a pounds and shillings man. Okay, so the word here for the so-called renunciate is markata vairagya. Markata means monkey. And vairagya, of course, means one that's detached. Okay? So, markata vairagya means being a renounced person like a monkey. Markata vairagya. What is a monkey? Monkey lives in the forest. They don't have any clothes. They just live under trees and in trees, right? But you see the monkey is keeping so many women, right? Each monkey has a whole, many women monkeys that he's having sex and babies, right? So although the monkey appears to be very renounced, right? In actuality, he's having sex all the time. Right? So Mahaprabhu's telling him, don't do markata vairagya. Don't do that. Right? It's cheating. Right? Stay at home. And so Raghunath Das, he took that instruction to heart, went home, and, acted just like a pounds and shillings man. What does that mean? Right? Somebody who's after money. Paisa. Paisa, sabse badiya rupya. So he acted just like that. Now this is a very important instruction for all of us. Right? Raghunath Das was the epitome of renunciation while living in Vrindavan. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, don't be markata vairagya, he followed that. So anyone that claims to be a renunciate should understand that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Chota Haridas, right? Because he had dealings with a woman, he banned him from his association. The devotees became very serious about spiritual life. So every ashram has a responsibility, it has a duty, it has guidelines to follow. Just like the sannyas ashram. The brahmachari ashram, the grihastha ashram. They have guidelines to follow. Brahmachari means the sold out animal of the spiritual master. Right? He means that they're not concerned with anything, brahmacharis. All they need is this little place to sleep, some prasadam, and some seva. This is their concerns. It doesn't go beyond that. It doesn't go beyond that. You know, if I don't get my cell phone, then I'll make an agitation with the other brahmacharis, and we'll have a meeting and rabble-rouse. No, don't do like that. That's not brahmachari life. If that's your mentality, then you put on white and go outside and be a householder and do all the kutinata you want. But if you're a brahmachari, what is brahmachari life? If the spiritual master calls, take prasadam, you take prasadam. If he doesn't call, the brahmachari fasts. He doesn't complain. He's not agitated. Right? He just fasts. This is brahmachari life. If I'm all agitated about something, right? It doesn't mean brahmachari life. It means householder life. All agitated, you know. We'll make a meeting and we'll show our concerns. What is that? That's not brahmachari life. That's kutinata. That's what the householders do. Don't do like that. That's not appropriate. One time in London, Vayahari, he became in charge of the temple. And Shyamasundar was staying there, and Shyamasundar was organizing persons to come, and important persons, philosophers, and different government people to meet Srila Prabhupada, and they were discussing. But Vayahari went to complain to Prabhupada. Hey, this Shyamasundar's not coming to any program. Prabhupada said, that's not your business. Don't criticize the senior devotees. So we have to know what is what. It seemed like, okay, Raghunath Das wanted to leave his family, and but Mahaprabhu said, no. Stay in your family. Right? Stay in your place. So we have to know what is our place, and we should stay in our place and not go beyond that. Otherwise, it won't be conducive for our spiritual life. Vitare vairagya bahire kari sarva karma Dekiyata mata pitar anandita bhang. Raghunath Das was inwardly completely renounced, even in family life, but he did not express his renunciation externally. Instead, he acted just like an ordinary businessman, seeing this, his father and mother were satisfied. When he received a message that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had returned from Mathura, Raghunath Das endeavored to go to the lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, there was a Muslim official collecting the taxes of Saptagram. Saptagram. Actually, Prabhupada, from his father's side of the family, he had relatives that were connected to Saptagram, the Maliks. They're from Saptagram. Later on, they settled in Calcutta. Right? So that connection to the devotees from Saptagram was there in Srila Prabhupada's own family. They were all great devotees of Lord Chaitanya in Saptagram. When Haranyadas, Raghunath Das's uncle, made an agreement with the government to collect taxes, the Muslim Chaudhry, or tax collector, having lost his position, became extremely envious of him. Haranyadas was collecting 20 lakhs coins and therefore should have delivered 15 lakhs to the government. Instead, he was giving only 12 lakhs, thus making an extra profit of 3 lakhs coins. Seeing this, the Muslim Chaudhry, who's a Turk, became his rival. After sending a confidential account to the government treasury, the Chaudhry brought the minister in charge. The Chaudhry came wanting to arrest Haranyadas, but Haranyadas had left home. Therefore, the Chaudhry arrested Raghunath Das. Every day, the Muslim would chastise Raghunath Das and tell him, "Bring your father and his elder brother, otherwise you will be punished." The Chaudhry wanted to beat him, but as soon as he saw Raghunath's face, his mind changed and he could not beat him. Indeed, the Chaudhry was afraid of Raghunath Das because Raghunath Das belonged to the Kayas community. Although the Chaudhry would chastise him with oral vibrations, he was afraid to beat him. Purport. Raghunath Das belonged to a very aristocratic family of the Kayas community. He had substantial influence with the local people, and therefore the Chaudhry, or minister, was afraid to beat him. Specifically, he would chastise Raghunath Das with threatening vibrations, but he did not beat him. The members of the Kayas community in India are generally very intelligent and expert in business management. Formerly, they were mostly government officers. They were mentioned even by Yajnavalkya, as quoted by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. Chata Taskara Durvritayar Mahasahasika Dhibhu Pidyamana Praja Rakshit Kayastaischa Visheshataha. From this verse, it appears that the government officials of the Kayas community would sometimes chastise the citizens, and thus it was the duty of the king to protect the people in general from the atrocities of the Kayastas. In Bengal, the Kayas community is honored almost as much as the Brahmin community, but in the upcountry of India, the Kayastas are considered Shudras because they generally eat meat and drink wine. In any case, from history, the Kayastas appeared very intelligent. Thus, the Muslim Chaudhry was afraid of Raghunath Das because he belonged to the Kayast community. Text 24. While this was going on, Raghunath Das thought of a tricky method to escape. Thus, he humbly submitted this plea to the feet of the Muslim Chaudhry. "My dear sir, my father and his elder brother are your brothers. All brothers always fight about something. Sometimes brothers fight among themselves, and sometimes they have very friendly dealings. There is no certainty when such changes take place. Thus I'm sure that although today you are fighting, tomorrow you three brothers will be sitting together in peace. Just as I am my father's son, so I am yours. I am your dependent, and you are my maintainer. For a maintainer to punish the person he maintains is not good. You are expert in all the scriptures. Indeed, you are like a living saint. When the Muslim heard Raghunath Das's appealing voice, his heart softened, and he began to cry, and tears glided down his beard. The Muslim Chaudhry told Raghunath Das, "You are my son. From this day on today, by some means, I shall have you released." After informing the minister, the Chaudhry released Raghunath Das's son and then began to speak to him with great affection. "Your father's elder brother is less intelligent," he said. "He enjoys 8 lakhs coins, but since I'm also a shareholder, he should give some portion of it to me. Now you go arrange a meeting between me and your uncle. Let him do whatever he thinks best. I shall completely depend on his decision." Raghunath Das arranged a meeting between the uncle and the Chaudhry. The matter was settled, and everything was peaceful. In this way, Raghunath Das passed 1 year exactly like a first-class business manager, but the next year he again decided to leave home. He got up alone one night and left, but his father caught him in a distant place and brought him back. This became almost a daily affair. Raghunath would run away from home, and his father would again bring him back. Then Raghunath Das's mother spoke to his father as follows. "Our son has become mad," she said. "Just keep him by binding him with ropes." His father, being very unhappy, replied to her as follows. "Raghunath Das, our son, has opulence like Indra, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not tie down his mind. How then could we keep this boy home by binding him with ropes? It's not possible, even for one's father, to nullify the reactions of one's past activities." Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was fully bestowed his mercy on him. Who can keep him home? Such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra. Then Raghunath Das considered something in his mind, and next day he went to Nityananda Goswami. In the village of Panihati, Raghunath Das obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants, and others. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. That tree is still there that Lord Nityananda sat under. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das was astonished. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place, and the servant Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, "There is Raghunath Das offering you obeisances." Hearing this, Lord Nityananda said, "You are a thief. Now you have come to see me? Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you." The Lord called him, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. Lord Nityananda ki, Raghunath Dasa ki. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows. You are just like a thief, for instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you. Make a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of edibles and bring them back. Raghunath Das brought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other edibles and placed them on the ground. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of Brahmins and other gentlemen began to arrive. Thus, there were innumerable people. It's kind of like yesterday or the day before, the day of Dwadasi, right? On Pandava Nirjala Ekadasi, everyone is fasting, and there's a big feast afterwards, right? And so many people came, right? They came for the feast. Right? They heard about it. And the upstairs by the Vrindavan Hall was completely packed, and the line was going down, by where the security stands, and then it came back by the bathroom, and then it was going down the stairs all the way to the ground floor where the back entrance of the restaurant. Where they came from, They came, Mangala was packed. Everywhere people were. So like that, people came for this, all of a sudden, for the chipped rice festival. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das arranged to get more edibles from the village. He also brought 200 or 400 large, round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots, and in these pots, a Brahmin began soaking chipped rice for the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. When you soak the chipped rice, you got to put it in water, right? You can't just squirt it with a hose. Sometimes I see they put it in a cauldron and then they squirt it with a hose. That won't do. It's got to soak. If it doesn't, you wash it once, you wash it twice, and it has to soak in water. And there has to be just a little bit of water on the top of the rice, of the poa. They call it poa, right? So then it'll soak in that water and it'll be soft enough. If you don't make it soft enough, then you'll have trouble digesting it, So you can't just squirt it with a hose. I see that sometimes. They put it in a column, they just squirt it with a hose. But that won't work. You got to soak it, right? And then after it's soaked in water for some time, then you can soak it in the Dahi. In one place, chipped rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a large type of banana known as champakala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmins brought before him the 7 huge pots. On that platform, all the most important associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ramdas, Sundar Ananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakar, Sadashiv, and Purandar, Dhananjaya, Jagadish, Parameshwar Das, Mahesh, Gauri Das, and Hare Krishna Das were also there. Similarly, Udaran Datta Thakur and many personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one could count them all. Purport. The devotees mentioned herein are described by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhashya. For further information, one may consult the following references in Adi Leela. Ramdas, chapter 10, text 116 to 118, and chapter 11, 13 to 16. Sundarananda, chapter 11, text 23. Gadadhar Das, chapter 10, text 53, and chapter 11, text 13 to 15, and 11 and 17. Murari, mentioned herein, is different from Murari Gupta. His full name is Murari Chaitanya Das, and he is a personal associate of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Thus one should consult chapter 11, text 20. Kamalakar, chapter 11, text 24. Sadashiv, chapter 11, text 38. Purandar, chapter 11, text 28. Dhananjaya, chapter 11, text 31. Jagadish, chapter 11, text 30. Parameshwar, chapter 11, text 29. Mahesh, chapter 11, text 32. Gauridas, chapter 11, text 26. Hara Krishna Das, chapter 11, text 47. And Udaran Datta Thakur, chapter 11, text 41. So just as some devotees were very much attached to Lord Chaitanya, there were some devotees that were very much attached to Lord Nityananda. In fact, when he descended, the 12 principal cowherd boys from the spiritual world also came with him as associates of Lord Nityananda. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars, Brahmins, and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on raised platforms with him. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was put chipped rice with condensed milk, and the other chipped rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people were there. Each and every one of them was supplied with 2 earthen pots, one of chipped rice soaked in yogurt, and the other of chipped rice soaked in condensed milk. Some of the Brahmins, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chipped rice there. Others, who could not get a place even on the bank of the Ganges, got down in the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chipped rice. Thus, some sat on the platform, some at the base of the platform, and some on the banks of the Ganges, and there were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men who distributed the food. At that time, Raghava Pandit arrived. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He brought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord, the prasadam. He first placed before Nityananda, and then he distributed among the devotees. Raghava Pandit said to Lord Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in the festival here, and so the food is lying there untouched." Lord Nityananda replied, "Let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. Seems like Lord Nityananda had a good appetite. When he went to the house in Shantipur of Advaitacharya, this is just after Mahaprabhu took sannyas. So he and Advaitacharya had a very funny conversation. But there were 2 banana leaves and there was prasadam. Big, in Bengal they have a big pile of rice and then many sabjis like shukta first and then other kinds of sabjis and chutneys all around like that. And Mahaprabhu sat down and said, I can't eat all this, give me another plate and so I can take some of it off. But Lord Nityananda said, I've been fasting for 2 days and I thought I would break my fast. And there's not enough prasadam here to even fill half my belly. What is this? So Advaitacharya said, don't complain. I know who you are. You're a rejected Paramahamsa. Just take prasadam. So in that way they had a very funny conversation. Lord Nityananda replied, Acha. Then Lord Nityananda said, I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I am happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy banks of the river. Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down and have 2 pots delivered to him also. There were 2 kinds of chipped rice soaked in them. When chipped rice had been served to everyone, Lord Nityananda Prabhu in meditation brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda Prabhu stood up. They then saw how the others were enjoying the chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk. Each and every pot, Lord Nityananda took 1 morsel of chipped rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also smiling, took a morsel of food and pushed it into the mouth of Nityananda and laughed as he made Lord Nityananda eat it. In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand what Lord Nityananda Prabhu was doing as he walked about. Some, however, were very fortunate and could see that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. Then Nityananda Prabhu smiled and sat down. On his right side, he kept 4 pots of chipped rice that had not been made from boiled paddy. Lord Nityananda offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a place and had him sit down. There together, the 2 brothers began eating chipped rice. Seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating with him, Lord Nityananda became very happy and exhibited various ecstasies of love. Lord Nityananda ordered, all of you eat, chanting the holy name of Hare. Immediately the holy names, Hare, Hare, resounded, filling the entire universe. I don't think we really filled the entire universe, did we? Let's try it again. Hare, Hare. It's better. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy names, Hare, Hare, and eating, they remembered how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys, on the bank of the Jamuna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu are extremely merciful and liberal. It was Raghunath Das' good fortune that they accepted all these dealings. Who can understand the influence and mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu? He is so powerful that he induced Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come eat chipped rice at the bank of the Ganges. All the confidential devotees who were cowherd boys, headed by Sri Ramdas, were absorbed in ecstatic love. They brought the bank of the Ganges. They thought the bank of the Ganges to be the bank of the Jamuna. Actually, the bank of the Ganges on one side is actually the bank of the Jamuna. And the explanation is this. In Allahabad, can we turn this on for a second? In Allahabad, the Jamuna and the Ganges merge. It's called the Sangam. When you go to Allahabad during the Kumbh Mela, you're supposed to take bath in the Sangam. Right? So when the two rivers merge in Allahabad, from that point it's Ganga and Jamuna. And the eastern bank is considered the Jamuna, and the western bank is considered the Ganges. So in one sense, they were in the Jamuna. But even still, the mood was like the cowherd boys in Vrindavan on the bank of the Jamuna. After Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished eating, he washed his hands and mouth and gave Raghunath Das the food remaining in the 4 pots. There was food remaining in the 3 other big pots of Lord Nityananda, and a Brahmin distributed to all the devotees, giving a morsel to each. Then a Brahmin brought a flower garland, placed the garland on Nityananda Prabhu's neck, and smeared sandalwood pulp all over his body. When a servant brought betel nuts and offered them to Lord Nityananda, the Lord smiled and chewed them. With his own hands, Lord Nityananda distributed all the devotees whatever flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and betel nuts remained. After receiving the remnants of food left by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das, who was greatly happy, ate some and distributed the rest among his own associates. Thus I have pastimes under Prabhu in relation to the celebrated festival of chipped rice and yogurt. Nityananda Prabhu rested for the day, and when the day ended, he went to the temple of Raghava Pandit and began congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Raghava Pandit's house is very near. Like I said, before you could see it from the tree where Lord Nityananda sat, but now there's many other houses there, but still there. And the devotional service of Raghunath Das, Raghava Pandit is also very famous, right? He used to cook various preparations and send them in bags when the devotees went to the Rath Yatra festival, and they were given to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Raghava Pandit's devotional service is also very famous. How his service to the Lord was so intense that when someone brought coconuts, he had them on his back, so many coconuts, and it touched the top door frame. So he rejected all those coconuts because when people move their feet, there's dust that's on the door frame from the feet of other people, so that he thought these coconuts are rejected. Right? Very high standard of worship for Krishna, the Raghava Pandit had. So that's also there in Panihati. So if you get an opportunity to go, you can see it's stated that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always personally present in Panihati. So if you get an opportunity, you can visit there. It's now that ISKCON has a center, you can go there and associate with the devotees and take prasadam and have that remembrance of Raghunath Das Goswami's chipped rice and yogurt festival. Hare Krishna. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki, Raghunath Das ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jai Jai Chaitanya Jai.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have a question.
Oh, you have a question?
We see in this chapter Raghunath Das Goswami acting diplomatically with that Muslim Chowdhury. Then even Sanatana Goswami was very diplomatic with that jailer, praising him that you are a sant and all that. So, how far we can be diplomatic in our preaching work? Because in general, diplomacy is condemned, Putinati.
Well, when Srila Prabhupada heard from the devotees how they distributed books at the airport, the devotees had many different techniques for distributing books. And Srila Prabhupada's reply was, well, when you're dealing with cunning people, you also have to be cunning. Right? So Raghunath Das and the example of the Sanatana Goswami, they were dealing with people that were very cunning. So they also had to be cunning in order to get the job done. And the difference is, the devotees are cunning for the pleasure of Krishna and the spiritual master. And the karmis are cunning for sense gratification. And they may be very expert, kritina, meritorious. They have very good ideas. You can look in the world of technology. They have so many wonderful, amazing things that they're doing in technology. Kritina, meritorious, but they're duskritina because it's all for sense gratification. And when it's for sense gratification, there's no good quality to it. You look and see that they made atomic energy, atomic bombs. Such a horrible thing. So their knowledge becomes sarvanas, that it becomes misused. Right? They make technology. People have cell phones. But what do they do with it? All nonsense. It's Vyasam Tirtham, pilgrimage of the crows. You used to have to buy pornography. Now pornography is free on the internet. So how degraded is that? Right? So if it's for sense gratification, no matter how glamorous or glittering it may appear, it's Vyasa Tirtham. It's simply a pilgrimage for the crows. So when you're dealing with such people, you have to be also a little sharp in order to get them to take to Krishna consciousness. Is that okay? Yes. Any other questions? Yes. But when you're dealing with devotees, don't do kutinati. Don't be very cunning. What's the best quality in dealing with devotees? Humble and submissive, Prabhupada said. Be humble, be submissive. Right? That's the best policy with devotees. Don't do kutinati. That won't be good for your spiritual life. Not at all. Yes.
How I understand that I am doing this for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. I always feel that I am doing it for Guru and Krishna. Where is the line that we cross, that it becomes for my sense gratification, not for Guru and Krishna, this kutinati?
That's why we have to do an inventory of the heart. Inventory of the heart. And the result will also come. If you're doing for Krishna, you'll get the result. Just like distributing books. If you're actually doing for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, you'll get result. Krishna will help you, right? If you're not getting the result, then one should analyze, one should look and see, okay, what are my intentions? Are my intentions pure? Do I want to do this thing for the pleasure of Krishna? Or is it for my own aggrandizement? That we have to see. We have to analyze. And if it's for my own aggrandizement, that's a weed. That's not wanted. They should take that out, right? That's what Krishna is trying to instruct the devotee, right? You don't have a pure desire here. And that's how we can cultivate our devotional service in a better way, so that we can come to that platform of a haituki, a pratiyata, a haituki bhakti. No desire for anything except the pleasure of Krishna. Of course, the highest example is the gopis. And the gopis were ready to do anything for Krishna without any consideration of their own situation. So attached to Krishna. And similarly, Krishna was attached to them for that reason. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to bring us to that platform. Haituki bhakti. It's a constant self-inventory of where we are at. What is my desire? What are my actual desires? And how to purify them. We have desire. It's not that the living entity is without desire. We have desire. Right? But the desire has to be purified. Right now we're thinking of our own sense gratification. Gross or subtle? Gross is man's attraction for woman, woman's attraction for man. Gross sense gratification. Subtle is also there. The subtle side of sex life is labh, puja, pratishta. Na janam, na sanam, na sundarim. No desire for many followers, janam, wealth. You know, some devotees' idea is, okay, one for Krishna, one for me. One for Krishna, some are one for Krishna, two for me. Everything for Krishna. No desire for woman, and the subtle things that come along with that desire for women. Right? Everyone should respect me. Oh, they brought the lamp to that devotee first. He's not respecting me. Pratishta, subtle form of sex life. So we have to analyze our own heart, right? And pray to the Lord. The Lord is going to fulfill the desire of the devotee. If you want a haituki bhakti, you have to pray for it. You have to ask the Lord for it, right? If you want something else, then the Lord knows all of our desires. In fact, the Lord is reminding us of our desires. He knows our material desires better than we do because He's the Paramatma. And He reminds us, remember, you wanted this, you wanted that, right? So the expert devotee analyzes, yes, maybe I wanted that, but that's not going to get me to a haituki bhakti, so I don't need that. It's not going to get me where I want to go. The Lord is always testing us. Where are we at? Okay, here. We pass the test when we decide that we don't want anything except the Lord's pure devotional service. That's a very elevated stage. We're here and that's here. But how do we get there? Do we just go on cultivating our same old nonsense? Or do we decide, okay, I'm going to give up my nonsense and try for it? If we don't try for it, we'll stay here. You may have your tilak, your mala, and your, association with others on that same platform, and go on. But if you want to get here, you have to take a revolutionary step to analyze how to get there. And the main ingredient is mercy. Like Raghunath Das, he got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu. And through the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, he got the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So who can get the mercy of Lord Nityananda? Those who want it. Those who have a desire, a burning desire for that mercy, they can get it, not others. Okay? Hare Krishna. All right, thank you very much for listening. Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.